Welcome back, everyone. We are here at Data Innovation Summit 2023, and we have another awesome product demo for data scientists. I am now joined by Timothy from Keboola, who's going to walk us through a tool that will make your life easier. Is that fair to say?
Easier and better, I would say.
All right, cool. So what's up? Show us.
Yeah, so we're going to be speaking about modern data products powered by AI. At the beginning, I'd want to just quickly touch on the history of the company itself, because it might be brand new to a couple of people. And I always think it's quite important to understand why technology was created in the first place. And we have a truly unique history, which really embodies our ethos as an organization. So who created the platform? It was created by our co-founders back in 2008. They were just a consultancy back then, and they just created the platform so they can better serve their clients, right? And if we fast forward just a couple of years, they delivered a project for our now CEO. He gave them a timeline of roughly a couple of months. They delivered it within a couple of days. And our CEO, or Pavel, who had the project get run by, he traditionally ran these projects and knew you needed a team of 5 people, you needed a couple of months to deliver. So he was more interested in how did you do it so quickly compared to the actual project itself. So they kind of brought him in, showed him what the tool was all about, and he said, you shouldn't keep this in a consultancy, you should take this to the market instead. So that's been kind of where we start from. So since 2014, we adopted the SaaS model. And kind of where is Keboola today? Well, we're a data stack as a service. From 2014, starting to service all of our customers, around 250 worldwide now, 1,000 plus users, and some of the latest additions from the Nordic market is Pincho Nation and Paradox Interactive, which are quite exciting brands, and hopefully there'll be a customer story coming up soon about them. And data stack as a service, probably a term you've never heard before, right? Right, so what is that all about? So we're trying to solve a problem, of course. And what is the problem? Well, we see quite a lot of organizations go down this DIY stack route of trying to stitch together several different tools. So some sort of solution for data ingestion, some sort of solution for data exploration or warehousing or data science, orchestrations, reverse ETL or outputting data. And on top of that, you need to have some sort of custom development. So if we talk about, time to market is quite slow. You would have to build, manage, operate, and maintain this custom data stack. Scalability is quite limited if you want to bring on more use cases, more data, so more tools, more people to manage this, right, and operate it. So if you look at cost of ownership, it's quite high. Scalability can be quite limited because you need to expand your team. And you always have to deal with maintenance or creating custom development. How do you deal with versioning, sharing, backups, archiving? And it's quite a fractured system when you stitch together several solutions. So how does user A in solution A match user A in solution B? Or how does X dollars in solution A match Y dollars in solution B? And how do we attribute that to our use cases and do some cost attribution?
I think it's intimidating for a lot of organizations to manage this puzzle, at the beginning of their journey.
Yeah, managing this, and you can bring someone in to manage it for you and create it for you.
Yeah.
And then when they move on, they take that tribal knowledge with them.
Right.
And you need to bring someone in who understands this custom stack that they built and all the intricacies around it. And very difficult, very expensive, right?
Okay.
So what is a solution, or what is our solution to this is, well, Keboola, right? So it's one managed unified platform, taking you from the point of data ingestion to putting the data into any sort of visualization or data consumption layer. So time to market is accelerated. It's an off-the-shelf, managed, optimized platform that is ready to go from day one. You don't have to wait 3 months to try and build it. Scalability is quite seamless. We manage all of the infrastructure for you and provision the resources you need to accomplish the different use cases. We have customers with just one person on the platform accomplishing all their use cases, customers with 100 plus users accomplishing their use cases. So when we speak about cost of ownership, one platform, one charge compared to several tools, several charges, a lot more cost effective, right? Bottom line for business users, right? It was always
Okay,
great.
so you have one tool here, and can you run it on-prem and in the cloud, or is it cloud native?
So this is cloud native.
Okay.
So it's mainly in the cloud on AWS, GCP, as well as Azure.
Okay, so you can run it on all 3 clouds.
Agnostic.
And then is it entirely managed, or can you can you sort of sit and fiddle with knobs yourselves and that kind of, so to what degree is it managed?
So all of the underlying infrastructure is managed for you. Of course, you can always fork or edit any sort of the configurations that we made in terms of the components. So if you do need to tailor some of the components for your needs, you can also do that. Of
But out of the box, it handles that stuff for you?
Out of the box, it will handle it for you.
Okay, cool.
And if we look a little bit more about data stack as a service, so setting up a data infrastructure takes time. It takes key decisions which revolve around how do you do data modeling, how do you deal with infrastructure, how do you deal with governance. And when done right, this really makes an organization flourish. When done not so right, can really limit an organization as they grow. So the challenge is usually these architectural designs are done at the beginning when you're in data infancy or when you're starting your data-driven journey, so to speak of.
Right.
So as the company's requirements change over time, as they develop over time, you need an architecture that's dependable so you can operate business as usual, but flexible enough so that you can actually adapt to accommodate all of these new use cases the business demands. Right? And at the end of the day, I believe we have to remember that it's actually the people who use these solutions and these tools that are the data heroes, right? They're the ones who help the company to become more profitable, save money on automation, find new ways or new revenue streams within the organization. And the tools are just there to empower them, right? It's not the tools doing it, it's the actual people doing it. So that's kind of why I wanted to speak about our company's history, where we came from a consultancy switching to SaaS, because we really encourage all of our customers or anyone new who's interested in Keboola to speak about their interesting use cases or their edge cases and how we can accomplish those together, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. And if we speak a little bit more about what can you do in Keboola, right? So what can we actually do?
I'm curious what it's made out of.
Yeah, pretty much. So we have the data sources on the left. We need to bring those into storage somehow. So we have out-of-the-box components or extractors for you. That will be stored in Snowflake by default. We are powered by Snowflake, so we are partnered with them. We do also have several other integrations available, but we're true believers in
What do you mean other integrations?
Oh, we can also connect to Redshift or Synapse or X.
Okay, so this central pillar out of the box is Snowflake.
Yes.
But if you really want to, you could run it on Redshift and what else? What kind
Synapse, BigQuery as well, XSL, and if you really wanted to, but we're big believers in Snowflake. But we will tailor towards any sort of customer's needs.
What do you have on Azure? You have their SQL. Could you run it on their sort of managed SQL Server type things?
Unfortunately, not as a backend. So it'll just be on Synapse.
See.
But we can connect to their Microsoft SQL and ingest that into their Synapse instead. So you'll still have access to all of the data if you want to really consolidate your data.
I suppose I would imagine it's because you make use of a lot of the type of automated functionality that's available in these kinds of systems, scaling and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's all built around it. And then if we speak about bringing the data in, so extractors, which are just as any sort of ETL tool, right? Bringing data in, we can then transform the data, manipulate the data with various sort of backends. So we don't limit you to any sort of language. If you want to work in SQL or Python or DBT, Julia, and we will have a new feature which I'll highlight soon for no-code transformations for business users as well. You can have interactive workspaces. It's a personal sandbox to really explore your data, understand it, really go crazy. Nothing you do there will damage production whatsoever. And you can plug in third-party applications to enrich data, build data apps with Streamlets or data products.
Would you say that this system is more tailored towards code developers or no-code developers, or what's a typical user of this system?
So I guess a typical user would be some data analysts, data engineers, data scientists. And where we're going is we want to enable or lower the barrier to entry for business users without restricting technical users. Because a lot of the time when you cater towards business users, you have to restrict technical users, which is what we're avoiding here, right?
Right.
So it's one environment, one platform where business users with no-code transformations, which I'll speak about in a second, can work on the data themselves, self-serve themselves. If they run into any sort of blockers, they can have coders come in and actually help them with their transformations that they're trying to do. So it's all within the one environment themselves. And the platform is API first, which means the UI is just an abstraction of those APIs, so you can really build on top of the platform and extend it. And there's also the CLI available, which is also an abstraction of just working with those APIs. So if you are, a code warrior or code hero, you can just work in the CLI and never have to look at the UI again.
Nice.
But everything is still tracked. Users in the CLI, users in the UI, users just using the APIs, all tracked within the same system.
You said that you wanted to get more business users using this interactively and that kind of stuff. And one thing that we've been talking about in all these panels here for the past day has been the word data management and everything surrounding that kind of stuff. So how would people be working with data management on Keboola?
Well, I mean, if we're speaking about access management, we can make several different environments. So within Keboola, we have something called a multi-project architecture, where you can create several different environments. Each environment has the exact same features, same functionalities, and it will be completely up to the client. How do you want to break up your environments in some sort of business logic way? So you could have L0 to L2 acquisition layer to data maturity doing data science, right? You can have technical environments, non-technical environments. They can't break any sort of pipeline, production pipelines. So it's all handled within the platform as well.
Okay, neat.
And then I guess the last step is always how do we consume the data, right? So we have writer components or reverse ETL to bring that data into any sort of visualization tool. We're very agnostic when it comes to that, as well as any sort of SaaS applications that you'd be using to actually visualize the data. And this is all within one platform. Everything is tracked, monitored for you, and everything is optimized for you already. So you don't really have to care about what's underneath, right?
SaaS applications, that's sort of cool. Could you have an example, like what kind of a consumer would live on the front side of this platform?
You mean the consumer from the data consumption?
Yeah, from a data consumer, taking things out of the platform, like what would be?
Bring it back into Salesforce, which is one of our use cases.
Salesforce, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, or any sort of CRM management tool, any sort of dashboarding as well. So it really depends on what.
So like Power BI or something like that.
Power BI, Tableau, Looker, ThoughtSpot. Whichever it may be, right? We're agnostic to it, so it's really dependent on your needs.
You might be agnostic.
Yeah, I mean, we may be agnostic, but maybe the clients aren't ready.
All right.
And if we speak just a little bit about the features, right? So no code, what is no code? So it essentially allows business users to build data products without coding when you sort of IT, clean data with just a couple of clicks, as you can see on this very nice graphic, all the different processes you're able to do, and you're collaborating with coders in the same environment. On the back end, it's essentially a DBT transformation. So coders can just edit the DBT transformation themselves, right? While the business users are just using the very nice UI.
Right.
So accommodating both, allowing them to collaborate in the same environment together. And then we're going to speak a little bit about templates, right? So these are predefined use cases. You can deploy an end-to-end pipeline in just a couple of minutes. Just need to authenticate some of the data sources or the consumption layer. Business users can self-serve with any sort of template that we have. We have around about 40 out of the box available.
What kind? Can you give me an example of a template?
Yeah, bringing marketing sources into Snowflake, bringing marketing sources into Google Sites, for example.
Okay.
Ingesting data from databases, taking it to ThoughtSpot for some visualization. So we built quite a few data templates with them. And this is also supported within the CLI, so coders can use this as a springboard to accomplish their use cases for development. You can build your own custom templates in the CLI as well.
So these are like data flow templates and not just things in the user interface that you can choose, but so if a CLI user wants to use that flow template, they could use that as well.
In the CLI they could use that as well, but they could also build it as well. But it's a whole pipeline that's pre-built, the code has been written, it's been pre-configured. All you need to do is authenticate it, right?
Then that means that all these sort of data flow automation tools, that capability is built into Keboola.
Built into Keboola as well.
Okay.
So everything you need for data prep for your consumption layer can be accomplished within Keboola, essentially. The last one I wanted to talk about briefly was just the activity center. I spoke a little bit about we maintain or we track your metadata and telemetry data. So this is kind of the end product of that. So this is just to give you a brief example of what is possible with that data. So we can track based on credits, based on security, and based on health, right? So security, who's using MFA, who's failing to log in, who are the new users in the platform, who's creating new API tokens, for example. We can track all those. If we're looking at credits, how many credits do we spend today? How much does this specific use case cost us to run? Does that make sense? So we can do cost attribution, which is very difficult to do if we look at the original problem of stitching together several tools. How do you cost attribute dollars in solution A to dollars in solution B in relation to all the various use cases we're running. But if it's in one platform, you can track it, right?
Right.
And that's what makes it a lot easier. Then also the quality of your environment. How many configurations are airing out? Which user has the higher error ratio, so we know where to assign internal resources, which environment, which team has the higher error ratios, or optimizing which transformations aren't using tables, which tables aren't being used in storage, for example. So you can get full observability, 360 essentially into your environment itself. And now we get into, I guess, the crux of the presentation itself, so AI for data businesses. So what essentially does that mean? Well, I like to believe that Keboola has been somewhat at the forefront of transforming, companies with AI products or making it easy for you to harness the power of AI. We have, many different success stories under the bolt, which are available on the platform or on the website itself, where customers are using Keboola to build AI products, right? So Orphan Cars is one of the leading sellers of new and used cars within the CE region, and with they utilize Keboola with one of our partners, Marketing BI, to essentially collect historical data on purchases, competition, and behavior, and feed that into some ML algorithms. And then those AI algorithms essentially predicted the marketing messages that were likely to convert people to the website, essentially, or into customers on their website, so to speak of. And this is actually, we have a full customer story both on YouTube as well, written down, so you can really explore how they were able to do this by 760% increase in sales in a single quarter. We always like numbers, and those are high numbers.
Was this something that they put in Keboola, and then this was the first use case they tried, or did they have Keboola, and now they're like, we're going to try AI, and then that gave them the benefit? So how was that like for them?
I mean, I think a lot of organizations believe that. They think we can just start with AI, right? But the beginning is you have to have some data maturity. So what is happening in your organization currently? That's going to be the first layer. Second layer, what are our competitors doing within the market? What is the market currently? So that's bringing in external data into our systems, understand that. Now, when we have that maturity, we can look at, okay, let's do some AI, for example, right?
Yeah.
We have to build upon that maturity. We can't just start there. Right?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that people think is, if you have a scale from 0 to 5 in terms of maturity across a couple of dimensions, they think that they can jump ahead to stage 5 because they see, oh, I know how to do stage 5. And the way, Twitter is doing scale out, I want to do that too, because then I'm going to be like Twitter or something like that. And the fact is, the weakest link in these dimensions is going to hold you back. And then the second thing is that jumping ahead that far, it might not be the end game for you in particular. So, having one platform that sort of guarantees maturity across a number of dimensions at the same time makes sure that you're not going to have these weak points anywhere, so that you can actually, move on an initiative like this and actually get it done.
Yeah, exactly. And also kind of future-proofing, so we can meet customers at whatever data maturity they are in. If they just need to ingest and consolidate data and create some dashboarding, great, we can do that. But as soon as you need, in maybe 3 years, you need to start doing some AI or start doing some machine learning.
Right.
You can still do that within the platform. You don't have to go and get more and more tools, and then you bring in more and more complexity, more and more management, and people that will be required. So that's the whole idea behind the platform.
Okay.
Right? And now if we talk a little bit more about AI, how is AI used or utilized within Keboola? So currently we have a public beta where we're doing some data ops automation with AI. It should be kind of every data person's robotic friend. And coming soon is going to be a text-to-pipeline solution, which is very interesting. It creates a new data pipeline or a new flow or template, as we spoke about, from simple text instructions.
Right.
So that could be, Keboola, please connect my Google Analytics to my dashboard and show me which traffic sources are bringing the most amount of leads. And then the AI would build that pipeline for you, right? So can you imagine just how much of a benefit that'll be for business users to actually self-serve that way? And we will be speaking a little bit later on about how that kind of works and how you can interact with it in the future. But if we speak a little bit about the beta features right now within the platform. So first is error messages. Usually error messages aren't so understandable, as you can see at the top here. It's not so clear what the exact problem is, right? So we're using AI to essentially make this more readable for humans. So you can see immediately, just at first glance, this is the error, this is my problem, but now what do I need to do? So this is a potential solution to fix it.
That's great.
And people or anyone can already use this within Keboola, right? And we've been demoing this yesterday, we'll be demoing it again today as well. So this is just the first beta feature available. The second one is AI for descriptions, and this is usually where governance comes in, right? So to have good data, who did this, how did they do it? It all starts with descriptions, it all starts with documenting. So within the platform, you can add descriptions to anything. Pipelines, transformations, extractors, anything you do within the platform can be documented or can have a description to it. And this is where AI really helps. Because we track your metadata for your tables, we can auto-generate the descriptions for you. So we take away that headache of the chore, right? By keeping best practices in terms of documenting everything within the platform. And this is also available in public beta right now that anyone could use within the platform. Last 2 slides, I know we're a little bit over time, but I promise you it's worth it. We are hosting our Empower event series, which is an online community series. Anyone can scan this QR code. It will take place on June the 14th, all around AI. So what super cool AI features are we currently working on? So text to pipeline, we'll get a little bit of a sneak peek of how that actually looks like in real time. How to implement, run, and truly reap the rewards of AI, and what are the pitfalls to avoid when we speak about AI. Just like you mentioned, we can't just go from 0 to 5 immediately, right? We have to build up to it. And last but not least, how to get hands-on. Everyone's favorite topic, how can I play with your tech, right? So you can actually scan this QR code. We give you around $100 of data processing for free every single year. No requirement, no credit card needed. So that would be the best way. Then you can also find us on Azure Marketplace. So you can use your Azure credits. Otherwise, Snowflake, Google, and AWS is coming soon. And last but not least, exploring use cases in our demo project. So our product team has created a demo project called demo.keboola.com. You have read-only access. You can't break anything, don't worry. But it's a guided walkthrough of the platform itself, the UI itself, and actual processes running, so you can see how does that look like in Keboola without having to create an account if you don't want to. And those are the different ways you can get hand-on, or you can always just come to our booth and say hi to us today.
I think that sounds like a good idea. These guys know what's up. The only way to evaluate a product is to actually get your hands on it, so kudos on that. Normally I have to ask people how they can actually try the thing instead of just look at the slides. And I heard you're quite the demo wizard, so get in touch with these guys and give the demo a try if you liked it. Hope you liked this product walkthrough. Thank you for joining us, and I will be seeing you very shortly at the next session. See you all.